Hey everyone, ready for a quick deep dive into today's news from the Faroe Islands?
Let's do it.
Awesome. We'll be looking at news sites, social media, even some press releases, just to give you the facts, so you can be totally up to speed on what's happening.
Sounds good to me.
It's December 28th, 2024, and we're starting with politics. And there's some big local news, actually.
Yeah, we have a really interesting re-election in Skalavik.
Oh, yeah?
Linjon Christensen has just won his 10th term as mayor. That makes him the longest-serving mayor in Faroe's history.
10 terms. Wow. That is incredible. It's got to be some kind of record, right?
It's definitely quite rare. It could indicate strong community support or maybe even a lack of political challengers.
Yeah, that's a thought. Okay, so moving on to the national level, the government is continuing their work on that university hospital, the one that's planned for the Faroe Islands. It looks like they've allocated an extra 1 million DKK in the 2025 budget for that project.
That's a really significant undertaking,
Yeah.
and it has the potential to really impact healthcare and research in the Faroes.
For sure. Now, in news from the region, there was a shooting incident in Klepp, Norway yesterday.
Yes, a police officer and a 40-year-old man were unfortunately killed in that incident.
That's awful. Really sad to hear that. Okay, shifting gears a bit, some exciting news today. It was announced that the Faroe Islands are going to be hosting the European Darts Championship in 2026.
That's fantastic news for the islands. I mean, think about it. It'll bring in international attention and probably a big boost to tourism as well.
Totally. Imagine all those visitors. I mean, it's not every day that the Faroe Islands host such a major sporting event.
Absolutely. It might even inspire some young Faroese people to take up darts themselves.
Yeah, good point. Also, some good news on the population front. Birth rates in the Faroes are up this year compared to last.
That's really positive to hear.
Definitely. Now let's talk sports. Faroes footballer Hannes. He's finally resolved those transfer issues, and he's going to be eligible to play for his new team, Selje, right after New Year's.
That's great news for Hannes and for all his fans. I know a lot of people in the Faroes were following that whole transfer saga very closely.
I bet. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk weather. It was a very wet Christmas in the Faroe Islands this year.
It was.
But SEV reported that most of the electricity generated over the holiday came from renewable sources.
All that wet and windy weather, it's actually really beneficial for the island's renewable energy production.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it ties in perfectly with the government's green energy goals.
I see what you mean.
It makes you think, doesn't it, about the future of sustainable energy and how it could impact all of our lives.
It does, for sure. That's a good thought to leave us on. So we've got a long-serving mayor, a university hospital in the works, a tragic shooting in Norway, a darts championship coming to the Faroe Islands, a rise in births,
Yeah.
and a footballer finally cleared to play. What a mix.
It is quite a mix.
Makes you wonder what the Faroe Islands will look like in, say, 5 years.
That's a great question. What do you think? I think we'll have to wait and see.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Faroe Islands news. We'll be back soon with more. Until then, stay curious.
You too. It really is amazing how they are able to do that.
Yeah, it's impressive. All right, so let's see what else is going on. Oh, yeah, there's been an update on those Russian fishing licenses, the ones that were issued back in 2023.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Yeah, so apparently the government has decided to increase the fees for those licenses.
By how much?
By a lot, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're increasing them by 100%.
Wow. 100%.
And get this, the increase is retroactive.
Seriously. That's quite a bold move.
It is, isn't it? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so another update. It looks like that new ferry for Kalsoy, it's going to have a price tag of 170 million DKK.
170 million.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant investment.
It is, but, it reflects how important it is to have reliable transportation between the islands.
That's true. Okay, some good news now. The job match event that's been going on,
Oh, yeah. How's that been going?
it's actually been a big success, apparently.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really encouraging news for job seekers.
Definitely.
And I think it's a good sign for the overall economy, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and there's a really nice story out of Føroyar, a family that had been living abroad. They finally returned home just in time for the holidays.
Ah, that's so lovely. It's a good reminder about the importance of family, especially during this time of year.
It is. Okay, so on a slightly more serious note, a new study has revealed that more than half of all households in the Faroe Islands are now childless.
Wow. That's a That's a pretty significant statistic.
It is. It raises some interesting questions about demographic trends.
Yeah, definitely something to think about.
All right. Moving on. There's been a push to incorporate more Danish laws into the Faroes legal system.
Right, that's a long-standing issue,
It is, and there are definitely diverse opinions on it,
for sure.
like what the appropriate balance should be between Danish and Faroes law. Okay, and it looks like the mystery of the missing Mykine's man continues.
Oh, yeah, that case has really captivated people for years now.
It has, and any new developments always seem to spark interest.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in technology news, cybersecurity is a growing concern.
Isn't it everywhere these days?
It is. And that's led to a proposal for new legislation to address the issue.
Well, that makes sense with cyber threats becoming more sophisticated globally. It's crucial for the Faroe Islands to be proactive about protecting their digital infrastructure.
Couldn't agree more. Now, it seems like there's been some feedback on that local app, the VIT app. Some users have found it to be a bit frustrating to use.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that too. It's not uncommon for new apps to have some initial challenges.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how the developers respond to the feedback, though.
Agreed. Okay, the Blue Cross organization has released a statement urging people to be mindful of the impact of alcohol consumption on children, especially during holiday gatherings.
Yeah, that's a good reminder.
It is, especially at this time of year. Now, some concerning news, unfortunately. There's been a significant increase in reported cases of sexual harassment in the Faroe Islands.
That's really concerning.
It is, and hopefully it leads to more conversations and actions to address the issue.
Absolutely.
Okay, on a more positive note, it seems the Faroe Islands have set an ambitious goal for that upcoming Føroyar tunnel project.
Oh, right. What's that?
Well, the environmental agency has called for a mandatory annual assessment of the tunnel's environmental impact.
That's good to hear. Shows they're committed to sustainable development.
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to strike a balance between progress and environmental protection.
That's important.
It is. Okay, an update on the fishing industry. The herring season has officially come to a close for this year.
How did it go?
Well, reports indicate that there were fewer herring caught this year compared to previous years.
That's a bit worrying.
Yeah, it raises some concerns about stock levels.
Hopefully it's just an anomaly.
I hope so too. All right, some good news. Faroe's businesses are proving to be quite competitive on the global market.
That's fantastic news.
It is.
It shows they're adapting well to the changing global environment.
Yeah, for sure. And guess what?
Ugh,
There's been a baby boom in the Faroe Islands this year.
really? That's wonderful.
It is more. Babies are always a good sign.
Absolutely.
Okay, so speaking of the future, the Faroe Islands are making efforts to improve their statistical data collection methods.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, the government has allocated 1.1 million DKK to develop social statistics that are specific to the Faroe Islands.
I see. So they can gain more insights into various aspects of Faroe's society.
Exactly. Data is a powerful tool.
It is.
Okay, and in football news, the search for a new national team coach continues.
Right. That's a big decision.
It'll have a big impact on the future of Faroes football.
For sure.
Okay, a new report on cancer occurrences in the Faroe Islands has been released.
That's important information.
It's vital for tracking health trends and developing healthcare strategies.
Absolutely.
Now, some sad news. A well-known figure in the Faroe Islands known as the Black Widow has passed away.
Oh, wow. Do they know what happened?
No details have been released yet.
I'm sure people will be curious about that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Okay, the Faroe Seamen's Association is holding its annual meeting today.
Right. That's always a significant event for the maritime industry.
It is. It's a chance for members to discuss important issues, elect representatives, and plan for the future of the Faroes fishing fleet.
Makes sense.
Okay. Heads up for anyone planning to send mail in the new year. Postal rates are going up.
Oh, really? By how much?
The government hasn't specified yet, but they did announce an increase in the cost of sending letters.
So it'll impact businesses and individuals alike.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, switching gears to some international news with connections to the Faroe Islands. There's been a tragic bus accident in Norway.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it resulted in the death of 3 people and left several others seriously injured.
That's awful.
It is. Okay, on a lighter note, the German parliament, the Bundestag, has adjourned for the holidays.
Well-deserved break, I'm sure.
Yeah, their work will resume in the new year.
Right.
Okay, and lastly, some concerning news out of the Middle East. Efforts to establish a ceasefire in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas have been unsuccessful.
Oh, wow. That's not good.
It's not.
It's such a complex situation.
It is.
It's hard to see any easy solutions.
You're telling me. It really is amazing how much we covered today.
Right, from local politics to international news and everything in between.
Yeah, it really shows that even on a seemingly quiet day,
Mm-hmm.
between Christmas and New Year's, there's still a lot happening in the Faroe Islands.
Absolutely. It's a dynamic place, that's for sure.
It is, and it's constantly evolving.
Which is exciting.
It is. It makes you wonder what's next. What will the Faroe Islands look like in 5 years, 10 years?
Good question. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I guess so. But that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Yes.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into today's news from the Faroe Islands.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yes, thank you for listening. We'll be back soon with more. Until then, stay curious.